Hello, you snacks, welcome back. My name is Jack. Today's first story is starting off in Off My Chest, a little two-parter where a mother feels justified to break off her son's relationship over a hunch. I broke my son and his girlfriend up, and he doesn't know it was me. I'm 49 female, broke my son and his girlfriend up. They had been dating for almost a year and seemed very happy. For backstory, my son is 19 and moved out pretty soon after his biological father had passed. He told me he wanted to expand on life because he was nervous he would waste it away being depressed over the death of someone so important to him. I understood completely and allowed him space and freedom, but we talked daily and he visited all the time. After a while of living alone, he moved back. It was around this time that he introduced me to Kaylee, fake name. Me and Kaylee got along immediately. She lacked a mother in her life, and I think she was quick to establish that relationship with me. Off the bat, I noticed she was extremely paranoid and had extreme trust issues. But she wasn't toxic or manipulative, just anxious about where my son was going after work. She'd ask me and I'd answer with, "Oh, he went to his friend Mike's house. They hang out to play PlayStation with each other." We both genuinely believed that my son was at Mike's house, and we had no reason to suspect he wasn't. One night, after my son came home to pick up his PS4 to hang out with Mike, Kaylee asked me to pick up some tampons and Tylenol for her. She lived close and her periods were always super intense, so I was used to going out late into the night to help her. My son gets out of work at 4 and is usually home or at Kaylee's place by 5:30 or 6 at the latest. Well, it was 6 and he hadn't swung by to drop us his PS4, so I shot him a text before I left the house to let him know why I was gone. It was something like, "Hey, Kaylee is on her period, so I'm heading out to grab supplies. You okay?" He answered me while I was driving, and I checked it when I got to the store. It was something like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Mike needed help building a shelf he bought, so I'm staying a little later." I sent back some message saying, "Okay, be safe," all of that mother stuff, but I was not ready to see Mike working the cash register, smiling at me as soon as I walked in. I hadn't forgotten he worked here, but obviously figured it was his day off. I smiled back, but immediately I felt sick to my stomach. I tried to rationalize it. Maybe he means he's building it for Mike while he works? I couldn't even think straight. I just got the tampons, some snacks, and Tylenol for Kaylee and went to the register. Mike obviously started small talk with me, paraphrasing because my memory is bad, but it went something like this. "Hi, Miss OP. Hello, Mike. How are you doing?" "I'm all right. Getting some supplies for my son's girlfriend." I remembered he laughed. "Speaking of your son, I haven't seen him in a few weeks. I need him to give me my PS4 controller he borrowed. Can you tell him that?" I felt sick again. I didn't want to put my son in the spotlight, so I didn't mention the stories my son had been feeding me. I just smiled and said, "I'll let him know." I paid for my stuff and left quickly. I drove to Kaylee's house and gave her the supplies, but I didn't know what to say or how to say it. She was smiling and laughing and looked carefree. She asked me where my son was. I couldn't lie to her. I couldn't, so I answered honestly. I don't know. I didn't know where he was or who he was with. I just told her to call him and ask. She thanked me and I left her house. Later that night, at around 8 p.m., my son finally came home. I didn't say much to him, just asked him if he had fun. He said, "Yeah," and went to his room. I knew I had to tell Kaylee. Soon after, I went into my room and called her. I informed her of what Mike had said and how late he had gotten home. She told me that he said he was home hours ago, just tired so he wasn't going to visit. I could tell she was crying, and I asked her if she wanted me to come over. So to get a clearer painting of this situation, as well as mention some other key points that the mother doesn't bring up until after the first post, this is a mother who believes her son is mentally ill. For a lot of this son's life, he's felt rather stuck on a path laid out by his own mum. Bit of a helicopter parent, apparently. And Kaylee is apparently extremely paranoid. So what's this mum doing the moment her son is doing something that is a bit more private than she's usually tolerant of? She sets this paranoid girl's anxiety into overdrive. Is that right to assume here? Well, let's read on. I went to her house and we talked about everything, and she told me she didn't want anything to do with him and wanted to break up with him immediately. I told her she could, and if she wanted, she could be honest and say I told her. After I comforted her for a few hours, she asked if she could still contact me, even if she wasn't my son. I said yes, but honestly, I'm hesitant about it. I love her, but it feels off to me. I would still help her though. Fast forward a few days, and my son comes crying to me that Kaylee broke up with him and isn't giving him any reason. I, of course, comfort him too. He said said that she needed time to think about it and would tell him why when she knows what to say. But for now, she is completely speechless. I was too, so I don't blame her. He cried for hours in his room and in my arms, and regardless of what he did, of what I did, I comforted him. I want to tell him what I know, and I feel bad that he doesn't know. But Kaylee didn't tell him anything yet, so I might wait. Honestly, I feel stuck. This isn't just about cheating, even though I think he is. This is about trust and how he is lying to me and his girlfriend. We both know there is a possibility he isn't cheating, but he shouldn't have to lie if he has nothing to hide. Now she says this. It's not about cheating. It's about trust and how he was lying to her and his girlfriend. It's definitely the girlfriend being a bit of an afterthought, isn't it? But it is a bit sus to not think this is about cheating when, as she mentions later on before the other update, this mother is a victim of cheating herself, especially from the bio dad. So it's very possible she's just projecting an assumption and ruining a relationship as a result. But anyway, there is an edit that's made in this first post. Just a bit of clarification on things, agreeing she should have spoken to her son about it first, but she was too emotional and felt betrayed. Oh, look at that. Reacting off your own personal trauma. I mean, it's human nature, but also it's not a very smart thing to do. Alleges that her son is probably mentally ill. They've tried therapy, but he just seems to always struggle to find someone he likes, nor can they always afford it. As well as clarifying that, okay, yes, she's definitely not okay with the cheating. It's just that she feels it's not just cheating, but there's all these other issues as well, like trust, etc., that matter as well. Understandable. Of course, the comments will highlight the most important question to ask. Did Mike get his controller back? We need to know! But while there were quite a few people being supportive of the mum's actions here, others had this kind of opinion to make. To TLDR it, OP is a terrible mother who is essentially trading in her son for this girlfriend. You've done all this just based on a hunch and an assumption of character, no doubt projecting from your own experience with her, well, with his actual father. Considering you act like a rather tattletale of sorts, no wonder your son is being sneaky and manipulative as you would think, because he probably doesn't feel like he can share secrets with you or things he doesn't really want to keep too open. So a day later, we come to their update. Just how much has mother screwed things up? Update. I wasn't going to make an update for a few days or weeks, but I took some advice from messages I got. I just wanted to clear a few things up first. I give my son space and freedom, but I wanted him to be able to take time from me entirely if he wished. Throughout his teen years, whenever he was upset, he would ask me to leave him alone. I would oblige, but honestly, if he didn't speak to me for more than 3 days, I would just ask if he was okay. After his bio father died, I told him he could have a break from talking if he wanted, and I would wait for the okay to contact him. The break only lasted for maybe a week, and he wanted to call me and visit. For the actual update, Kaylee decided to give him a call. She talked things out with her sister and decided to ask him. Apparently, he was cheating. Oh, that's right. Turns out mother this entire time was completely justified. Her having a cheating husband didn't mean she was just projecting an assumption onto her son. It was because she could tell he was replicating the signs of a cheating partner. Basically, the only projecting going on in this story is this comment itself. Clearly being the only one here with some actual mummy issues. Oh, but oh my goodness, if you already hate the son for being a cheating son of a bee. Oh, let's not say son of a bee. That implies the mother here is a bitch, and she's not. She's wonderful. But get ready for this pathetic boy child's excuse for cheating. So apparently he was cheating, but told her that it was because she was on her period and very sensitive to everything. He said he had done it 3 other times, all while she is on her period. She called me and told me before my son told me, but in his defense, he was busy explaining things to his girlfriend and now Mike, who he accidentally wrapped into this. It's only 12 in the afternoon, and he wants to tell me in detail after work, which I told him was okay. He told me he was sorry for lying, and I told him it was okay, but it hurt my feelings. I didn't mention this in the post or to him, but his bio dad cheated on me, and that is why we are apart. He cheated on me before I was pregnant with my son. And for the first year of our marriage, I did not want my son to think that was okay. I talked to Kaylee and she is just head over heels for my son and said if he promises not to do it again, she would stay with him. He already did it 3 times. I haven't told him that because that is not my business. They can talk about that. My son has sent me a few messages since about work, but he seems extremely sorry. I am a bit disappointed in him, but I think it's because of what I went through and how hard being being a single mother after the man you thought loved you just left. Kaylee said that she would try to be a more attentive girlfriend, which honestly sucks to hear because this is not her fault. I am not going to dictate their relationship and tell her to find someone else, but it does shock me that she can forgive. As much as I want to be mad at my son, I really can't. I've never gotten mad at him before, and I think this situation just brought me back to everything that happened when he was little. I hope my son can learn from this. Tonight when we talk, I'm going to be a little strict on him, obviously, but again, he is an adult. If he says he is going to cheat on her, I cannot stop him. I really hope he learns. Well, your son sucks. I think this comment says it best. He literally guilted her into thinking due to her biological response of bleeding out of her vagina, he felt he was entitled to cheat by sleeping with other women. Do you not see how toxic your son is his views on women? He views their bodies as property instead of human beings due to his desires. That's not okay, and it's why he doesn't see anything wrong with cheating. Until he grows shame and guilt around hurting another human being for cheating, he won't ever stop and accepts the consequences for his actions. History is already repeating and he is turning into his bio dad because you haven't been fully transparent about what actually happened. Shed some light on the truth. Tell him the impact it had. Tell him he is doing the very thing to Kaylee as his bio dad did to you. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mum, but if your son can't handle something as natural as a period, then he shouldn't be dating, let alone sleeping with women. But in another final comment from the mother, I am getting him into therapy as soon as I can. As for their relationship, I advised him to put it on hold because he told me that while he loves her, he wants to continue exploring his options. I want them both to be happy, but I don't know how to tell them the sad truth. I think they need to be apart, at least temporarily. Like, okay, that's good. That's progress. Good on you, Mum. Just, also, please whack into his noggin that he is a piece of schmidt. He needs to understand that about himself so he makes sure to never be like that in the future. But what do you think? Let's still point out the fact that this all started based on a hunch or an assumption of the son's actions. Ultimately, it seems like she made the right call, but I think this is a case where, like, looking inside someone's phone without their permission just because you suspect something, yeah, you might find something juicy, but is it still justified? This story over an Am I the A-hole was a bit of a big one over the last month. Also coming with an update. Say, do you like racial fetishism? Would I be the a-hole for dropping out of a wedding when it's 2 weeks away? I'm 29, male, and have a long-term girlfriend of 3 years, Hannah. My friend Kyle is getting married later this year. I agreed to be a groomsman, so it's me, him, and there are other dudes. I was disappointed when I found out I wouldn't have a +1 for the wedding, but at the time, I thought the same went for the other guys. I come to find out last weekend that the 3 other groomsmen do have +1s. 2 of them have been in relationships for less time combined than me. The other guy is single and was complaining about not finding a date to bring on Tinder, which is how I found out. So I asked Kyle, what's going on? Why do they have +1s but I can't bring Hannah? I find out this. So I'm walking down the aisle with the bride's sister, Lisa. Now Lisa is developmentally disabled. She's in her 20s, but mentally she's about 10 years old. Kyle says it's because they don't want to pee off Lisa. Her parents figure she will never marry or have a boyfriend, so they want me to come solo to give Lisa the impression that I'm single. Basically, they want me to pretend to be a boyfriend for Lisa. If I come with Hannah, that will make her jealous. I'm really not comfortable with this. Lisa is a nice girl, but I don't like that I'm tricking her into thinking I'm someone that I'm not. It's scummy to make someone believe I'm her boyfriend when I'm not. Plus, what if Lisa meets Hannah in the future and finds out we're together? I mean, she's already gotten into trouble in her adult care group for fighting with another girl over a guy. I told Kyle and his fiancée Claire that I'm not okay with this. They told me I need to suck it up for a day because this will mean a lot to Lisa. But I'm not comfortable playing pretend boyfriend, especially for someone who thinks we are the real deal. I want to drop out at this point. Wedding is 2 weeks away. Would I be the a-hole? Because the board, as well as everyone's, was you would not be the a-hole. They believe that your points are more than valid. Besides, one of the groomsmen is actually single. If they want to conduct this farce, why don't they pair her with him? Which is a very important question to have. Well, some people would theorize, well, it's because he wouldn't agree to it probably. Groom thinks OP is only worth having if he participates in a farce. Very disrespectful, and OP is not the a-hole for pulling out. Others wonder, well, okay, maybe the sister has a crush on OP and not the other single groomsmen. But okay, if that's the case, then dangling OP in front front of Lisa like a carrot on a stick would only make the farce even more heinous. Like, it's cruel to Hannah, the actual partner, cruel to OP, and cruel to Lisa as well. It really seems like a case where parents are just throwing their kids at someone else to deal with them. You know, distract Lisa with this other guy so that our family doesn't have to deal with Lisa for once. Well, it's not long before Opie decides to confront Kyle about this, and they come back with a bunch of updates. A lot of timed edits of sorts. It starts with, "You guys are right. This is really screwed up. I called Kyle just now and told him we need to talk. Face to face. I'll update if anything happens." 2 hours later, "I'm going to need some time to calm down. My friendship with Kyle is over. And whoever said that I got roped in because Lisa had a crush on me, you win. I'll fill you in when I've had a moment. I feel sick right now." Next update, 4 hours later. I think I can say what happened earlier this evening. The more I read everyone's answers, the more I realized this was really screwed up. I already had a feeling that this whole Lisa wedding date situation was messed up, but reading everyone's comments reinforced it. I told Kyle that we had to talk, and he agreed. So we met at his house. Claire was there. Lisa wasn't, thank God. Basically, I told them I was dropping out of the wedding. I told them that setting me up as Lisa's fake boyfriend was beyond messed up. What did they think was going to happen after the wedding? Was I supposed to continue this charade or dump her, break her heart, and be the bad guy? So Claire tried to explain what was happening. Something about how Lisa was upset and angry that she wasn't the one getting married. That wasn't the part that peed me off. No. Want to know why I got offered up? Because Lisa loves K-pop and is obsessed with Asian guys. I'm Japanese American, so that's why I got roped into being her fake date, and not my single friend who has to rely on Tinder to find someone. It's all some sick attempt at making Lisa feel better by hooking her up with the only Asian guy they knew. At that point, I had enough. I told Kyle and Claire that it was over. I wasn't going to the wedding. I never wanted to speak or see them again. There was a lot of screaming and crying. Claire asked me why I would do this to her sister. I barely even know Lisa except for the few times that the wedding was related. And that's where things stand. I don't know if they're going to try and paint me as the bad guy who broke Lisa's heart. I already told the guys that I'm not coming and why. Who knows what the fallout from that will be. I spent the rest of the night trying to get a grip on myself. I still feel kind of queasy from this whole thing. This feels like one sick joke. I feel bad for Lisa because while I got out, she's still stuck with that terrible family. Oh, I also asked why not hook up with Lisa with Tucker, their single friend using Tinder for dates. Well, it's because she said he was too ugly and hated his beard. I'm not going to tell Tucker that. He's going to find out eventually. Oh, what stupid, attempt is that to make you the problem here? Why would you do this to my sister? I didn't. You did. You're discriminating against her by not enabling her racism, says every racist a-hole out there. How dare you, OP Asian guy, not fulfill my white sister's fetish? Now let's head over to Today Reddit's I Screwed Ups. I pronounced the title of that subreddit wrong, but shut up. It's another two-parter. This story began 8 days ago. Today I screwed up telling my girlfriend how I met my friends. A couple of nights ago, my girlfriend was supposed to meet my friends. I've been delaying the process for months because I knew I had to have an uncomfortable conversation first. I met my friends at an orgy. My roommate at the time asked for my permission to host an orgy at our flat. I said yes, as long as my room and my belongings were off limits and the flat was cleaned properly afterwards. My plan was to spend the night at my mum's house and be out of everyone's way during the orgy, but my roommate encouraged me to stay and participate. See, I was still a virgin back then. The thought of sleeping with one person was overwhelming enough, let alone a group of people. However, my roommate eventually convinced me to take part. I was added to a group chat with all the people who were going to be involved in the orgy. All of them made me feel really comfortable. That being said, when it finally happened, I was unable to get with anyone. My anxiety won. Everyone was understanding though. Life went on. My roommate became my ex-roommate after a few months, but we never stopped being friends. The connections I made with the people at that night also developed into friendships. We're still friends now. My girlfriend didn't know my history with them until earlier this week when I finally had the courage to explain the story. She was shocked and disturbed and asked if I lied to her about being a virgin when we met. I said no. She struggled to believe that a virgin guy would walk away from that sort of opportunity with his virginity still intact. Yes, because as we all know, men do not at all have any form of performative anxiety. We don't at all live in a society where men are consistently ridiculed for how bad they are at pleasuring the other gender. My girlfriend made it clear that she was no longer interested in meeting my friends. She said she didn't know how she could be in a relationship with someone who was friends with people who shared him. She's like a gender-reversed tater tot. I asked my girlfriend if she was breaking up with me, and she was going to need some time to decide what to do. Last night she decided our relationship is over. Now, there is an edit to the story that I won't really show up here because it's only a small paragraph, but it's just a lot of intimate details that I don't want to risk this video getting blacklisted. But essentially, he did experience some form of intimacy at the night, kissing his roommate and a girl going down on him. But apparently that doesn't count as losing your virginity. I guess because the logic of unless he's the one who puts it in someone, then that is what it is. I mean, I think this comment really highlights this. This is a good illustration of how fraught the concept of virginity is. So yeah, ultimately this guy's relationship is ruined. This woman finds him disgusting. But if you think this tater tot without actual tater tots on her is done making him feel bad, well, don't worry. In the update, less than a day ago, we learned that for some reason the ex makes this such a big deal she decides to expose her to his own parents. Why? What? I guess she's upset that she possibly wasn't the one who took his virginity? My mom and dad invited me to have dinner at their house a few nights ago. I was planning to inform them about my breakup during dinner, but I realized it was too late when I showed up at their house. My parents were already informed. The dinner invitation was a smokescreen to confront me about the details. My ex-girlfriend apparently broke the news to my mom and dad soon after our relationship came to an end. My parents knew about the orgy, the friends I made, why my girlfriend no longer wanted anything to do with me. It was an ambush, or an intervention, I don't know. But it was awkward. My mom wanted me to make her believe that my ex-girlfriend lied and that I never participated in that group stuff. I confirmed what my ex said was true. My mom looked disturbed and asked if I got tested. I assured her that I was clean and that it's almost been a year since that had happened. My dad looked equally disturbed and asked if I was really friends with people who openly shared their bodies like that. I said yes and described them as good friends. I even told my dad that one of my friends who openly shared her body also openly shared her homemade lasagna that my dad enjoyed eating when he was sick. I asked my mom if she remembered the DJ with the tattoos that stepped in at the last minute of my sister's wedding because the original DJ dropped out. My mom said yes. I asked my mom if she remembered that DJ playing some of her favorite golden oldies like Flashdance, What a Feeling, and Stand By Me. My mom said yes. I asked my mom if she could guess how it came to be that I knew that DJ. My mom said, oh. I told my parents not to worry about me and advised them to avoid communicating with my ex-girlfriend because whatever was happening between us was between us. Towards the end of the dinner, my mom and dad knew a lot more about my friends and seemed less uncomfortable. I think once the shock of me being involved in that fades away, my parents might be keen to meet my friends one day. Hopefully that day never comes though. Can't wait for the final update where Lasagna Person and your dad meet and share a beer. For the final installment, I'm expecting the parents to team up with the friends to give OP a breakup consolation orgy. Avengers, assemble! Pink Eye, Crack Widow, Captain Asmerica, the Incredible Hunk, Thor, with vibrating Mjolnir, Latex Man, Dich Fury. Wow, never has so much been lost by one who did so little at an OG.
Well, that is the end of today's video. Thank you as always for watching. Remember to drink water that's healthy for you and stuff. I love your face, and see you next time. Bye-bye.